Please raise the hand if you have any question so that I will allow your mic to be opened so that you can discuss, ask any question. So before starting this topic, we discussed several points in the previous class. Our topic in the previous class was, let me write parallel on the screen. So we discussed in previous class types of graphs, and we focused on positive slope graph, and second was negative slope graph. So this was the topic that on which we concluded in the previous class. So first of all, the point to be discussed here is what is meant by slope. So we will discuss it here. So the last class we used the method, we used the graphical method to describe the nature of the graph. So we use the points and compared how it is positively sloped or how it is negatively sloped. Today we are using the slope method to describe the nature of the graph. So this way we can discuss using a number what is the nature of the graph. So in the slope of the graph, the now we'll discuss. So what is the slope? So slope of a curve defines the nature of the curve of the graph. So it tells us uh, what is the angle that it is making with the y-axis. So if I draw a rough diagram here, so if we have this y-axis and we have another x-axis, so if I make a graph, let me check another color, let's take black. So the slope will tell us, so if the graph is starting from here, it will tell us what is the angle this line is making with the x-axis. So if it is positive, the bigger the angle, the more positive it is. So suppose this is one graph. I can make another example with some other color. Let's take blue. So the positive slope can be another type like this. There can be another type. I can use it use yellow, and it can be like this. So these are three types of positive slope graph. So the concept of slope will tell us which type of graph we are going to draw here. So or the number will tell us which type of positive slope we have. So slope of graph defines the nature of the curve in the graph. If the answer is zero, if the slope answer of the slope is zero, it means that the curve is flat and similar to x-axis, flat, and it is similar or similar slash parallel to x-axis. So a graph which is, let's draw example here. So I will come here and I will draw, suppose we have and y-axis and then draw an x-axis here. So if the slope is zero, the line will be, let me check, take another color, it will be horizontal. So horizontal means that it is not changing, and it's also similar to the x-axis, or it's parallel to x-axis. So this way we draw the slope. We describe if a slope is zero. So we give the meaning zero slope. Zero slope, another meaning of zero slope is, let me write it, add it here so you can read it out. So zero slope means that increase in x value is not changing y value. So if you see the horizontal line, here you can see the line is horizontal. It means in this case, let me take another color so that I can draw. So in this case, the x value is increasing like this. So every point I pick it up on the line, it is increasing in terms of x, but it is not changing in terms of y. So y is constant. So if in an example where y value is not changing, we can call it a zero slope line. Similarly, a line can be an infinite slope. Infinite slope means that curve is steep, vertical, and and it is similar slash parallel to the y-axis line. So this is how we describe the infinite slope. So let's draw that case somewhere here. So let's see if we have this y-axis and this x-axis. So the infinite slope line will be like a vertical line like this. So this line is vertical and it has infinite slope because if you draw some reference points here, so if I take this dot and join, so first point it is changing y, second point y is changing, third point y is changing, but for all these points x is not changing. So if the x is constant and y is changing, then slope of the line is infinity. So let's write it here. So define, so infinite slope means that infinite slope means that the y value is changing without without any without any change in the x value. So this way we can describe the infinite slope. So the graph will show a vertical line. So these are two extreme cases, vertical and horizontal. So slope tells us, so if there is another case, slope tells us how much of an item x is increased if an item in y axis is increased by 1 unit or vice versa. So this is the discussion regarding the topic of slope. So the point is how what is the interpretative definition of slope. So if we want to interpret the number, so the definition will explain how to interpret. So slope tells us how much, let me write it on this, how much an item on y-axis, y-axis, let me take it right, is increased when an item on if the item on x-axis is increased by 1 unit, vice versa. So let me write the formula here now. So slope is equal to change in y divided by 1 unit change in x. So suppose the variable that is in x-axis is changed by 1 unit. So it can be 1 rupee, it can be 1%, it can be $1. So how much there will be a change in y? So that change is called slope. So this is where we answer. So let's say here the unknown is, we can write it as let's say z. So that number is slope. So change in x over change in y. So let's go to next slide and hopefully you will clear this topic. So go to the next point. So I will open this slideshow so that you can see the animation and you can understand the point. So here you can see how to explain the slope of a graph. So we have two products on a graph. One on one side we have quantity of fish. Maybe he's trying to buy two products from the market, and he's a shop owner. So he went to the wholesale market and he wanted to buy apples. He wanted to buy two products for his shop. So on the first side, it is quantity of fish, how much fish he wanted to buy in kgs, and there is quantity of mangoes. So how many mangoes he needed to buy in terms of kgs. So these are two products that are on the graph. So let's move on. So suppose, and there is this graph, and let me explain how to read it. So what will happen, we will draw two dots on the graph. So the slope method will tell us how to find the nature of the graph. So what first you will do is draw two dots anywhere on the graph and label it. So he said that the dots are C and D, and so from if you move from C to D, what will happen? So there will be, first of all, you will have to come down. When you're coming down, what is happening? The mangoes are reducing from 800 to 600. So there is a minus 200 mangoes. So you have to reduce number of mangoes. And what will happen? You are also moving from uh, when you're going from C to D, first you go down. When you go down, it is minus 200 mangoes, and when you have to go rightward, so it is 50 increase in fish. So from 100 to 150, so there is 50 units increase in fish. So the formula of slope is rise divided by run. Rise is minus 200 because it is going down, so it's a negative rise, and run is you're going rightward. So rise is minus 200 and run is 50. So minus 200 divided by 50 is minus 4. So this is the slope of a curve. So let me interpret it here now. So let's come back to the okay. So this way we write the formula again. So we have discussed earlier that let me write it again. Discuss that slope is equal to rise divided by run. So what is rise? Rise is positive if y-axis value is increasing, and negative if y-axis value is falling. Similarly, run is positive if x-axis value is increasing, and negative if it is falling, it is decreasing. Okay, so let me revise a little bit, then I will take questions. So what is saying here is, suppose if you have a graph and there are labels available, how to calculate the slope. Okay, so what is the method that we can use is that you make two dots C and D, and what you will do is that so you move from C to D. So slope is calculated when you are moving from one point to another point. So when you're moving from one point to another, in graph, you cannot go diagonal. You have to go up or down or left or right. So first of all, you go down, and from C to this dot. So when you go down, you can notice that there is no change in X value. It is 100 at this point, it is 100 at this point. So what is changing? The quantity of mangoes. And how it is changing? It is decreasing. So when you're moving from C to D, first of all you go down, and down movement is called rise, and because it is going downward, so we call it negative rise. So minus 200 mangoes. Then you move from this point to D. This is run. Moving rightward is run, and moving leftward is negative run. So we are moving right. So from 100 fish to 150 fish. So here we can write it as, we can write plus 150. We can write plus 50 here. So this way you can describe the right or run movement. Okay. So and then the formula we already discussed is rise over run. So we can calculate slope this way. So I will write it here, plus 50 when you are moving from this point to this point. But when you're going down, it is minus 200. So the formula that is shown here is equal to rise over run, or we can also write it as the formula it is written is 600 minus 800, that is movement of C to C this dot. So 600 minus 800 divided by 150 minus 100. So that will be equal to minus 200 divided by 50. So you cancel 1 0, that is minus 20 by 5 is minus 4. So this is the way we calculate slope. And I will do more examples. First of all, we'll try to learn its interpretation. So hence, if so, this slope means, and now I'm going to interpret. So if the fish is increased by, if there is one extra fish, then there will be 4 less mangoes. So this minus 4 means if you increase fish by 1 unit or 1 fish, then you have to decrease mangoes by 4 units. So this means this is it is comparing 1 with 4, and it is negative. So this is, so negative sign is showing negative slope. So let me take another color and write it on screen. So this negative sign means negative slope. If there was positive sign, we will call it positive slope. So this way we confirm the type of graph, it's a positive or negative. Then there is a number. That number shows the nature of the graph. So hopefully you understood. We will go towards examples. And first of all, I will take few questions. So let's take 2 different points. हम कोई और point ले लेते हैं और इसको फिर दोबारा solve करते हैं as an practice. ठीक है? So let's take 2 points. Let's take this point as A and this point as B. So from A to B, we have this rise and this is run. So rise is 400 minus 1000. 400 minus 1000 divided by 200 minus 50. 200 minus 50. So what will be the answer? Minus 600 divided by 150. So this is positive. So what will happen? 0 is cancelled. 60 divided by 15. What will be the answer? That is minus 4. 15 4s are is 60. So minus 4 is there. So this way you can see minus is there and 4 is there. Now let's do an opposite example. What we can do is, let's say it is A and D. So rather than going from A to D, we are going from D to A. So from D to A. Let me label it like this, D to A. So from D to A, you will do is we can do is from D to A. So because we are going up, first rise, first run, then rise. So, but formula is rise over run. So, the arrow, you can see the arrow. So up is यानी up में जहाँ खत्म हो रहा है arrow वो नंबर पहले लिखना है. So 1000 minus 600 और rise में 50 minus 150. Answer is still -4. So you can calculate slope anyway. It is from A to D or D it and back it again. So you can select any dot to calculate the slope. Only rule is for each dot you need to know the y-axis value and x-axis value, and for other dot. So if you have these values, you can calculate slope. Otherwise, the other way is take the end points as dots. So A and B. So calculate from A to B. So from A to B, the slope will be 1200, 0 minus 1200 divided by 300 minus 0. So that will be -4. So you can calculate slope if you don't have values in between. So because these values is usually known in the graph. And so this way you can draw the graph. Hopefully it is clear now. If you have any question, do ask, so that otherwise I will move to some examples so that you can do yourself, and then so that you can understand. We are doing some examples regarding slope. Okay, so let me move the screen to the side. Participants are here. So let me write on the screen. So example number 1 is, let me take a one. So we have a graph, and it is positively sloped, and I think it is positively sloped, but we have to confirm it using the values. So what I will do is I will change the color, and we have two dots available. One this is A, this is A, and this is B, and I'm labeling these values. So this is 50 and 200, and this is 10 and 25. Now try yourself, and let's see who gives us the answer. So I will write the formula, and then I will ask the values for it. So the formula for slope is rise divided by run. And if you open the formula, that is let's write it as y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So 2 means new value, 1 means old value. So from A to B, if we move from A to B, so let's change the color. So first of all, we have to run a little, and then we have to rise a little. Okay, so this way we move from A to B. So let's go back to red color. So from A to B, first of all, there is a change in X. So first of all, we fill the X values. So X2 will be 25 because it's the end of the arrow. So X2 is 25 and X1 is 10. It's a start of the base of the arrow. So that is 10. And while doing up, which is rise, so end of the arrow is 200 and start of the arrow is 50. So 200 minus 50. So the answer will be 150 divided by how much? 15. So that will be 10. So answer will be 10. So this way you calculate the slope, and this is the working. So now I will create another example, and you have to do it yourself and give me the answer. Okay, so I'm going to draw the other example. So example number 2. Let me check. black color again, and straight line. So we have another example here. So this time I'm taking some other type of graph. So another positive slope. I think it's a positive slope, but we have to confirm. So my 10 means it's at the plus sign, so it's positively slope. Before going to this graph, let's interpret that graph. So what does 10 means? So slope 10 means if x is increased by, so in arrow means increase, I'm writing in short writing. So as x is increased by 1 unit, then y will increase by 10 unit. So we have this point A and another point B. So let me label these and then we'll see how you make it. So this is 10 and 12. So 10 for A and 12 for B, and this is 50 and 75. So try to solve it, then we'll see.